right, and we are back. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Old Moon Podcast, episode 8. Tiltus, you said it first. It's just about 2 months now we're going on here.
Yes, sir.
We're kind of gaming right now.
Crazy.
Yeah, I am your host, Blue Squadron, joined, of course, by my co-hosts every week. Tiltus, go ahead.
Hello, I'm Tiltus TV. I don't have a title this week. I'm tired. I'm a little sleepy. I've been on vacay all weekend. I'm a little brain lagged today, so
it's okay as long as Jay also does not have a title. We're in business.
Definitely, I don't have a title. It's fine. Hi, I'm Jay. That's it.
That's it? Oh my, come on. That's like the worst
Not
one we've heard, bro.
Come
on, bro.
Jay.
I just wanted to make you feel better, you know?
I mean, but there's a difference between not wanting to make the rest of your group feel better and just straight underperforming, which is where we're at. All right. Well, we have a lot of fun subjects to talk about tonight. The very first of which is the tag system. Now, when BDO began, it was near impossible to change classes without incurring massive financial loss, and I mean that both out of game and in game. Eventually we saw the introduction of weapon exchange coupons, and then we got the current tag system. So let's take a look at the weapon exchange coupons first. Do you guys feel like, Jay, I'll start with you. Do you feel like weapon exchange coupons, when they first came out, do you think that they nailed it the first time, or do you think it took them a second?
Well, I mean, they did what they did, right? They exchanged the weapons. However, like, I feel like a lot of players utilized them in a very different way very early on, which was it was very hard to get specific weapons for the class that you play back then. You know, the boss weapons like Zarka, Dandy. So what people did was they buy ordered, or what was it called before? It was a pre-order, right?
Pre-order. You know, it's still pre-order.
They pre-ordered a weapon of another class, and then they transferred it to the main class they play, and that's how most people used their weapon coupons back then, to not roll to another class, but to acquire a weapon for their class, because it was just so hard to get the weapon back then. So
yeah, it was
especially if it was a pen, right? When people wanted to buy their pen gear, they would just buy a pen from another class and then transfer it to the main class they play, and that's how they utilized it back then.
Find the cheapest one with the least amount of pre-orders up.
Yep, because all the weapons back then were when weapon exchange coupons came out many years ago, they were not all created equal yet. They had not standardized weapons on the marketplace yet. Nowadays, when you look at the market, a Guardian Dandelion, for example, is going to be worth the same as a Witch Dandelion, and vice versa. There might be more or less listed, but they will be the same price, just to keep people from just, like, they would make like a Tet Black Star for another class and then just roll it to the class that, or a pen Zarka, for example. They would just make it for another class, and then they would just roll it to the class that it was most expensive on, and then they would sell it or buy the cheapest version, etc. Okay, so we talked about a little bit about the weapon exchange coupons. They did not really quite nail it the first time. Then they kind of took it away from the Pearl Shop, and now they hand us a new set of weapon exchange coupons every 6 months or so, I feel like. Now we have the current tag system. So with 26...
We're gonna gloss right over the monetization of the weapon coupons, huh? They came out originally and they were just like event things, kind of like they are now, and then they were like, "Hey, we're gonna put them on the marketplace."
Oh yeah, no, it was they would come out and people would just buy all kinds of them. It was a big monetization thing for them, but I think that they've kind of gotten away from it. A lot of people thought that they made tons of money off of weapon exchange coupons, but I think after the tag system, I actually don't think they make a crazy amount off of them. But speaking of the tag system, we have 26 classes in the game. Is the tag system outdated now? Like, a lot of people take the tag system for granted. I still consider it a relatively new feature, to be honest with you, to the game. But do we think that it's outdated at this point, or do you think anything needs to be added to it? Tiltus, we'll start with you.
I think honestly, I'm fine with it the way it is. I think it could use with some quality of life updates. there are some things that I would like to be tagged over or to not be as restricted. The most annoying thing in the tag system to me right now is having to refuel my Vel's heart every time that I want to tag character. I don't know why it annoys the crap out of me, but it does. It just does. It's one of those things. Mounts are another annoying thing. And this might be kind of wild considering our last week's podcast, but I don't think tagging over like temporary life skills to a tagged character would be the end of the world either. It would be interesting. I don't know if it would be functional or not, but it's an idea. I don't hate it, and it would make tagging characters for war at least a little bit easier, especially for fort tap time and stuff like that. So
I mean, tagging life skills between characters, like the life skill level itself.
Yeah. So, like, if you have your, let's say my Valk's got 20-second tap time. I want to tag a Kuno. I tag a Kuno. Now my Kuno has 20-second tap time as well, or something of that combination that allows me to not have to grind out hours and hours and hours of life skills on my Kuno before I can take it to war.
Okay. I'm curious, Jay, what do you think about the tag system?
I mean, yeah, definitely. With, as you said, Black Desert now having 26 classes and also continuously adding more and more classes, I think a lot of players can relate to wanting to have more than 2 classes with the gear they have worked so hard on, right? So I think just simply adding more tag slots would be the simplest and easiest way to go about this. In terms of how many, I mean, at least one more, definitely. In terms of thinking about the monetization for this, perhaps through loyalty, or players can just spend the pearls for the additional slot if they want to. Yeah, that's what I would do for quality of life for that.
Easy Tiger. He's like, yeah, chill. Okay, so there were a lot of ideas thrown out right there. So let's start with the first one. Being able to tag your life skills themselves. I don't think that that's necessarily a good idea. I think that
the more I thought about it, the more I didn't like the life skills themselves, but maybe at least the 20-second tap time could carry between tagged characters or something.
Yeah, well, I mean, we discussed last week Jay's suggestion of just making it tied to your life fame, and then you don't have to worry about it anymore. And then I feel like if you tag characters life skill levels, then your side progression on your ults becomes less and less useful.
Negligible.
Which is something we're going to talk about a little bit later. But being able to tag multiple characters, I don't know. Like, should you be able to tag multiple guys? I feel like weight and inventory. We'll touch on that later. I feel like weight and inventory are like the two big ones you guys talked about.
Oh yeah, that would be huge.
I don't know, man. Like, they have to make money somewhere. So like, and I also don't feel like weight and inventory are necessarily essential. Like, I'm free to play on my Guardian. I don't even have a horse whistle, which I'm going to be honest with you. Of the 3 things, the horse whistle is definitely the worst thing to be missing. Mm-hmm. I hate not having a horse. It's like the worst thing ever.
You get that one-time cash in if you send in a support ticket. So
yeah,
they'll never do it for you again, but you got that one time.
Yeah, but I cycle through alts so fast. It's just not worth it.
Yep.
So like,
I think all my tags have a horse whistle on them now.
Yeah, what do you guys think about being able to tag your weight and inventory slots? Is yes or no? Jacob?
Maybe before, when they didn't have all these quality of life changes for weight and inventory, but nowadays I feel like it's not that big of an issue. So I'm leaning towards no for that, for weight and inventory being tagged.
I'll play the exact opposite side of that. Yes, absolutely.
Okay, you gotta say why though. You just can't say I disagree for the sake of argument.
No, I just as a veteran BDO player that's played this game for many years and bought weight and inventory on very many different characters, I would like to be able to tag things and bring them to a war occasionally and not have to worry about weight, especially from my position is probably a little different than Jay's. Blue's ears probably is too, but when you get to war and you're weighted down by like pledges, which don't actually weigh that much, but just the various war things, annexes, all that kind of stuff, like your inventory actually, or your weight goes pretty fast when you're leading a guild in some form or fashion. So I think it would be beneficial.
I feel like I don't have weight issues, but then again, I did spend the time to grind.
Don't do it.
There's
Don't
this
do
thing.
it.
Now, what's the
Don't do
thing
it.
that I'm thinking of? Oh yeah, it's called an infinite fucking potion. That's what I was thinking of. It's almost like a few podcasts ago, you literally said that it wasn't useful, and that's crazy because now we're gonna jump back to it and how useful it is.
I'm being attacked.
Yeah.
I'm being targeted. The one guy that doesn't treasure grind. Okay, I see you guys. I see how this is gonna be.
I actually don't feel like the war actually weighs me down anymore. Before it was the pledge. Well, the pledges of blood are reasonable amount of weight, but like
Yeah, they're
they've
not bad
decreased. Yeah, they've decreased the weight of all this stuff, so I can carry everything I need for war without going overweight. Even on my guardian, who again is a free to play player. I don't know. I just don't feel like weight is. With it not being as essential as it once was in the game, like a long time ago, I don't feel like it's necessary to tag, and I feel like it's one of the things that I'm actually okay with them monetizing a little bit. Plus, you can get the loyalty weight, which isn't the end of the world. Inventory, I don't know. For war, I could see inventory being an issue if you're completely free to play, but also they hand away so much inventory space.
Yeah, there's even a sub quest section specifically titled like inventory advancement or something in your quest menu. So it's not that bad to get inventory slots, to be honest.
Yeah, I feel like the inventory slots are also not a crazy issue. Now, what about your... Ooh, should you be able to tag your horse whistle? Okay, now there is... Again, I feel like they want to monetize that. I feel like that there's no shot, bro. I'm reaching for the stars here.
I've bought like 4 of them now, I think, for different alts that I play that I actually bring to war, and it drives me nuts. I hate it. It makes me so mad every time I go to call my horse, and I'm like, I don't have a horse whistle on this character. Let me go to the ends of the earth and go find a stable keeper to get my horse back real quick.
Jay, what do you think about being able to tag a horse whistle specifically?
Tag a horse whistle. I feel like out of all the like alt issues, it's like least on the priority of alt issues. To me, I mean, it's not that big of a deal. And again, as Blue mentioned, just like in terms of like monetization, that's like one thing that it's not that bad. But if you do want to spend the money, you can to get another horse whistle, you know. So
yeah. Okay. Now, as far as being able to tag additional items, Jay, this is one of your subjects. I'll let you touch on it. As it stands right now, there's actually only one way to tag additional items outside of your main gear set. So, and it's a Pearl Shop gated thing, right? And it's a Pearl Shop gated. It's like, what is it? $10? It's like 1,000 pearls.
Yeah, it's 1,000 pearls. So if people don't know, there's this item called Marnie's processed fuel, and you can get it occasionally from attendance rewards, but it's very rarely. I think I've only ever gotten like 2 from attendance, 2 or 3 maybe at most. But essentially, it lets you single copy an additional item. So in terms of like things you might want to additionally copy, I think everyone by now knows about the green offhands, but if you haven't, essentially the green offhands have become much more meta nowadays due to the crystals not being associated with gear anymore. So you can utilize the unique stats of the green weapons a lot more, such as special attack damage, accuracy, evasion. So these are definitely some players who would want to additionally copy on their tag. Perhaps another one would be cups, because if you guys don't know, if you upgrade a cup that's on the original, it does not reflect on the copy. So
really?
The only way to get it on the copy is if you just like complete untag it, and then you just have to transfer it over in storage, or you single copy it using the Marty spot, or just retag it completely.
Retag, yeah. I do think they make tagging relatively cheap, which props to them right now. They do the tag events pretty regularly, so it doesn't hurt that bad. If you're a chronic reroller, maybe you have some opinions on it, but I think the tag system is actually pretty good. I think there are some quality of life things that would make me happy, but in all honesty right now, the tag system's like the last thing I complain about in the game the way it is right now. I like it. It's fine.
Okay, guys, I have some bad news. This is breaking news because this is just released on Korea, so I'm throwing a curveball at both of you. I'm sorry. So apparently there is a change that is now live in KR. That added special attack damage 10% to Kudum, Nuver, and the Black
Really?
Star
Oh,
offhands.
come on.
What?
Yes. That like
Why?
I don't know. I'm reading it. I'm in disbelief. My
Can I get
chat
that
is
link?
memeing. Yeah, the chat is memeing me out of control right now. I'm in complete disbelief. They announced at the balls. They announced at the Calpheon ball they wanted the green offhands to actually be super useful,
Yeah,
and finally
I
they
liked
were. And I felt like they were in a good spot. Like there was finally like a use for like the green offhands in the game, and then I feel like I got baited into going to make one.
The old bait and switch.
The old bait and switch, and then they just added it.
They trolled
When
all
was
of
this
us.
released? Like literally, like
This was
An hour ago?
this is brand new,
oh,
brand new.
Yeah.
So yeah, they added special attack damage to Kudum and Nuver. Okay, so what are you wearing for Node Wars now? I guess I'm just throwing it into the garbage, bro. Like there's actually just no.
Yeah, I don't like that. I'm huge not fan of that actually. We'll talk about this later. I'm a huge fan of,
We talk about
additional gear being useful in niche situations. I like that system. So I was really happy that green offhands were meta. I really don't like that change.
That's so weird to me. Like, Jay, do you like that or do you not like that?
I am biased because I did spend the time and effort to get a Pen Black Star offhand, and so this makes
This
me
guy,
happy
bro.
because it
He's
affects
like,
me
oh my
in
God,
a positive way.
Okay.
I knew it, bro. I knew it. He's like,
I
so
feel like
how
a
does
lot
this
of people
affect
are
my
on
grind?
my side, to be honest. I feel like I feel like a lot of people who's invested a lot into their Nuver, like let's say they got C20 Nuver, C20 Kudum, Pen Black Star, right? Those people, a lot of people are wearing those, and I think a lot of people had a gripe with the green offhands being, supposedly performing better than the supposed best offhands in the game, right? And so I think this change is a good thing for the game, in my personal opinion.
I think maybe adding it to Nuver, I could see an argument for. Because Nuver's supposed to be the PvP offhand, Kudum's the PvE offhand, unless you're a weirdy DP player. I don't know. I don't like that change. I'm not a fan. I don't like it. Revert it. Send it back. Did they play test this?
There's already like
play testing it right now.
there's a playtesting. There's already like 40 green offhands listed at min for
Really?
Oh, damn.
Oh my god.
I was just looking at one in my DK's inventory going, I should probably swap that over to my Valk in the near future.
I just don't understand. Like they said they specifically wanted these green offhands to be good, like and actually useful, especially in like the Calpheon grind zones. And I felt like they were relevant. And yeah, it was, but it was out competing Kudum and Nuver in a decent amount of situations. But like, is that necessary? Like, it's definitely not in every situation. Like, I still feel like that everything had their place. Maybe you just nerf it a little bit, but like, I don't know. This is just basically removes most green offhands from the game. Obviously, you still have the evasion green offhands and the accuracy green offhands.
Meta.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I think this completely changes the cap meta. What are you guys wearing in cap PvP now? Tiltus, you're the king of T1s.
Oh man, so I currently have a tri AP offhand, green AP offhand that I use for T1s.
You didn't even bother making it pen. You just left it a try.
I didn't have to for so I'm still kind of a gearlet. So I didn't have to for
That's fair.
Yeah, for PvE stuff, but I did somebody just spammed in my chat and guild chat that it's gonna be useless now. Dump it now. No, but yeah, I don't know. I use the AP offhand and capped content because of the 10% special attack damage. Now adding that to Nuver and Kudum and Black Star is a little weird to me. I don't know.
I want my brandstone back.
I feel like there's another route they probably could have went that would have fixed that. You know what I mean? Like they could have potentially buffed Nuver or Kudum to make them do something different. I don't know. Just slapping a Band-Aid 10% fix on it feels weird to me. That's so heavy-handed.
It was heavy-handed. I know Jay's super excited because he's doing the Macarena. He's one step closer, baby. One step closer to being able to just one-shot a golem and never having to ask for another Olin's group in his entire life. But like, I feel like most players kind of enjoyed the fact that the green offhand, honestly, like, it helped new players getting into the game. I'm gonna be real. Like, new players are all doing capped content, and so especially in my guild, I don't know about you, Tiltus, but when we took on a new player, the first thing we tell them is just don't worry about the pen kudum, or don't worry about your pen maneuver right away. You can just get your green offhand, and then boom, that helps boost you up to the caps much faster than you would have been before. So I think this is almost just a direct nerf to my guild. Because
Yeah, I mean,
that's what we were telling new players, just get the green offhand. It's like way cheaper. You can do it right away.
I guess the only argument I could see for it is that especially now, the green offhands are going to be a cheap budget item. So maybe for Tuvala Timmy coming off seasonal, looking to upgrade, maybe that's the route that he wants to go. But I don't know. It's weird. I don't like that change. I'm not a fan.
Yeah, it's kind of rough.
Yeah.
We spoke in our piece on it though. All right, let's rotate back to the tagging additional items. So just throwing out Jay's entire argument before about tagging the pen green offhands. What other items might you guys actually want to tag? If you were allowed to tag things outside of like the main gear wheel, like for free. I mean, like free, but like, you know, an additional cost of some kind. What items might you want to tag? And don't say green offhand now, because that's apparently outdated as of like 3 minutes ago. Jay, you can go first.
Perhaps different alchemy stones, like the Perilla Star. You might maybe want to copy
I like
over.
that.
Perhaps.
Yeah. Ooh, I like that. Yeah. Yeah, bro. Being able to tag other alchemy stones, but then I got to make sure all my alchemy stones are at 100 durability every single. There's not a chance. Just like Tiltus, man. I hate that stuff.
I still think the accuracy and evasion offhand still might be useful to tag over, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Those could potentially still have some use. Yes. The thing that pops to my mind is actually the tome. I want my Chenga tome on my alt character.
Can you tag him? I can't remember.
No, here's the thing.
Can't you just transfer over?
Yeah, you can,
but it annoys me because I don't remember
What?
I don't remember to transfer it over when I'm like swapping between tags. Because as a shot caller, Blue, I like to have an additional 30 meters of vision on my mini map.
I do too. I just unequip it on my alt and transfer it to my main like a normal person.
I don't remember to do that. Just include it in the rest of
I
things.
want to spend 500 extra million silver and get it tagged. I don't want to have to worry about transferring.
It doesn't need to be that. Just include it with everything else. You already get the life skill fucking tag in there, or the life skill tool tag. Just give me that one. Why is that one not included? It's on the wheel.
Yeah, I have like 3 Chenga tomes that I trade around.
Okay, well you're a freak, so
freak. No. That's Jay. Jay, how many quests have you done?
How many Chenga tomes do you have, Jay?
I mean, I've only done like 30k quests. That's just
30,000. I've only done
10 times the amount that I've done.
I've only done 30,000 quests. Well, I only have literally the biggest quest reward in the game, but really that's not that much questing.
Oh my!
I've done the minimum.
Jay is actually
the final amount that you can get for the 30k, which is to get the 300 stack and the +5 permanent fail stacks. Right, those are very powerful. So,
but you do have the 30k. So how many Chenga tomes do you have?
Oh, like how many Chenga tomes?
Yeah.
I never really counted or bothered to count. I think
isn't that one of the
one?
Yeah, I was gonna say, isn't that one of the quests that you don't? Yeah, do you not get credit for completing that one again in the quest log? Because I know there's some quests that in the quest tracker you only get credit for completing once, and then after that, besides being a freak like Blue and getting multiple Chenga tomes, you
I needed one for my ship person, and like you said, I was lazy and I didn't want to have to transfer it from my main every time.
So lazy.
But
instead of putting it in storage, you went and reran the quest, the whole thing, because it's not a short quest line.
You're talking to the guy that has 2 characters because I didn't want to have to sail back and forth to the sea monster hunting missions. There's not a chance. Okay, I am way too lazy for that. Let's see. Okay. All right. So you guys really we've only really touched on offhands and alchemy stones. I was kind of hoping someone would say the life skilling equipment. Because if we can tag a bunch of extra stuff, I would love to be able to tag my life skilling equipment so that I don't have to transfer it all the time.
So, I never really thought about that.
I'm a weirdie. When I'm done life skilling, all my life skilling gear goes into a very specific storage, and that's where it sits. And then whenever I'm on a different character, I just pull it out. So like and with the tool bag, it doesn't even require that much space anymore. It's just like boop, there it is. All right, I'm done. Now if I need to life skill my DK, it's all right there.
I know this sounds crazy though, Tiltus, but we have the technology to make that even easier now. I feel like I feel like that this is such a simple change. Either they need to do something with the life skilling equipment. And we touched on this in a previous podcast, but like letting us transfer between alts faster would be way better. What else needs to be able to be tagged? I always think of offhands. All right, mounts. Do you feel that mounts need to be able to be tagged? Because I feel strongly one way about this. I know, Tiltus, you also feel strongly, so Tiltus, we'll start with you. Do you feel like mounts should be able to be tagged between two characters?
Yes.
Right.
It's silly. It's silly to me that I have to go put the horse in the stable. I mean, it's not silly. I understand why it's the way it is, but it just annoys me. I'm not a fan of things that annoy me in the video game. When I play the video game, I want to be happy. Putting my horse in the stable to then log, and if I log too fast, then I've got to actually just wait for the cooldown. It's annoying. Just give me a second horse on that character that I can ride around with.
I don't know, man. I see him shot call all the time. He doesn't look super happy while he's shot calling, but like, it doesn't.
I mean, you know how it is. I've heard you shot call RD.
I am happy. That is what happiness looks like. Screaming and then silence.
I have a very funny clip of you and the Geico Gecko getting along with those paper thin walls. So.
There is. I don't know what you're talking. I don't know what you're talking about right now.
Walls are a little thin, huh?
I would never scream that loud. Wrong guy. There's no way to confirm it. Jay, how do you feel about being able to tag mounts?
Well, I do have to admit that checking your horse and then doing all the loading screens is annoying. So if I had to make a quality of life change to sort of fix that issue, why not be able to remote collect a horse from another character? So you just don't have to deal with the loading screens. That would be my simple solution for not having to. You
can do that already. You can already remote collect. If my Pegasus dies on my witch, I can just remote collect it. Or I mean, I can just.
I mean, like while it's out
has to be dead. It has to be dead.
Yeah, it has to be dead.
If it's standing next to the Velia storage keeper, I have to log in to that character, put it in the stable, or go jump it in the ocean. I guess. Do you just murder your horses when you're done with them? Do you just fly them off cliffs in the water?
What do you mean?
No.
This one's going to the glue factory. See you later.
Well, that's it. I did name it Jakin, so.
The point is to not deal with the loading screens, right? And so it has to be dead for you to sort of remote collect it from another character. And so if we could just remote collect it while it's alive on another character, that would be my
I could see that. I could see that.
So.
Yeah.
As long as you have the infinite horse whistle, I've never really had a problem on my witch. I just kind of whistle it wherever it is in the world. But that I will say that is the problem on my guardian because she doesn't have a horse whistle. If I ride across the world, I'm doomed. Like I can't unless I run her manually to a stable. My ult is just doomed. She cannot get to her horse. And that is really really frustrating.
The same horse as your main on that character?
No, actually, and this is why I was gonna say that my mount. I don't feel like mounts should be able to be tagged between characters. As someone that literally has 3 dream horses, 2 specifically that I use for my tag characters, and 2 full sets of enhanced Krogdalo gear, on both of those horses. No,
right,
I have spent the time. I have spent the time. I have a win set and a C Krogdalo set. One on my ult and one on my main.
You flamed me so hard for my horse gear that I immediately the next day went out and started making my horse gear.
I'm so proud of you. Now
the fear of God in me with that horse gear, Blue.
Now the better question though, which gear set did you begin making?
Wind.
I'm proud. Oh wait. Oh no. Sorry. The answer we were looking for was C. We would also have accepted C. There's, for anyone that doesn't know, the 3 Krogdalo sets in the game are Wind, Sea, and Earth. And you guys tell me which one you think is the most valuable. Wind gives you plus 5 AP. It is plus 5 hidden AP. Sea gives you plus 100 HP and plus 150 stamina, or plus 100 stamina. And then the Earth one gives you plus 3 evasion, plus 3 DP.
Well, that's the least effective one.
Yeah, I mean, we can all agree with that. That's the balance of the 3. As I like to say.
Cogdalo said.
Don't insult my
the shy players like,
do not insult my intelligence.
Just a minute here. Wait.
Don't insult my intelligence. The 3 choices again. This is not a multiple choice question, and if it was a multiple choice question, it would be A, B, C, and then all of the above. We wouldn't even mention the donkey set. So, which set do you feel is the best? Now, Tiltus, why did you make Wind because it was easy, or did you make it because you felt like it was the best?
No, I didn't. No. So, fun fact: I grinded my Wind set out from scratch. I went and did the whole thing.
I did. I made it from scratch too.
Actually, that's a lie. I did 3. I think I did 3 of the 5 pieces from scratch, and then I had I bought 2 I bought 1 with Shaka 2 seals, and then 1 with something else. Oh, it got listed in the market, and I bought it while it was on the market.
Oh, right on. Cop out.
Hey, suck my ass, bro.
I crafted
you try
all
making
5
a full
pieces.
set in like a week after you get flamed. I'll tell you what, Mithril, never ever again will I mine Mithril nodes. Have you ever done the Mithril rotation?
Yes, bro, it's miserable.
Dude.
I remember putting it up. No, I remember putting the order up on stream for like the Mithril ingots. I'm like, man, I'm never gonna get this stuff. This is gonna be the worst part of it. And I just, within 15 minutes of putting the order up on the marketplace, it happened on stream. Within 15 minutes, I had a full order, 500 Mithril ingots. Boom, done. Boom, done. One and done. Mithril was the easiest thing for me. I just, bam, pounded off the market. The coral was honestly the hardest one. The coral, I don't know who sold.
I had to grind Mithril, dude. Okay, so for anybody that doesn't know, Mithril nodes only exist very sporadically, I believe, in the rocky part of Valencia. I could be wrong; they could be in the new areas, but I don't know.
You mean the Mithril, like mining the Mithril manually? When you say Mithril nodes, I think the
no, I mean nodes. Like node, like a life skilling node.
Oh, okay.
So there is a rotation that you can do. They're all spaced out about a 2-minute horse ride from one another. You only have 1 to 2 rocks that you can mine, and they take 30 minutes to an hour to respawn. So you have to server swap, and it's so contested that sometimes you'll swap to a server, and guess what? There's no nodes there because somebody just mined them.
Oh my god.
So yeah, I spent a good couple of hours running around in this giant loop in the rocky part of Valencia, just trying to find Mithril. So
yeah, honestly,
don't you talk to me about horse gear. I suffered for that horse gear.
I don't know what you're talking. I still have 368 ingots left.
Okay, dude. Okay.
Honestly, the hardest thing for me for the Wind was the iridescent green coral or whatever that it's called, prairie green coral.
Yeah,
really? Yeah, so that's the one that I use the Shaka 2 seals for.
Well, yeah, because you need emerald.
That one.
Yeah, and honestly, it's not the coral that's the problem. I have an unlimited supply of coral. Because I used to be a big underwater gatherer. I don't care about that stuff. So, however, I don't have an unlimited supply of green coral, so that ran out kind of quickly. And it's really what you need is emerald. And emerald is actually not very easy to get unless you know what you're doing. There's a secret cave that will give you emerald. There's like a bunch of emeralds you can mine out of that cave in southern Serendia. I know it's the tech, but honestly, I'm helping everybody out. I'm doing everybody a solid, bro. There's a secret tech. There's a big cave full of emerald in southern Serendia that will allow you to get as much emerald as basically that you need. And you just keep.
Some life skiller is screaming at you right now. I want you to know that.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you over the
the wails of 1,000 life skillers crying out and being silenced all at once.
If it makes you feel better, that honestly, I had to make topaz. Like I had to make Manos hunting clothes recently. Oh my gosh, bro!
I'm sorry.
Thank goodness I already had. I had done like 1,000,000 hours at Pilgrim's Haven for Roughstone a long time ago when it was like the best gathering spot in the game. And I had a bunch of topaz from it. I had like rough topaz, and I had just enough to make the hunting clothes, but topaz is really hard to get. Like some of these stones are just impossible to get. Oh my, but boy, we've gotten off. Boy,
Yeah,
we've
we
gotten off
went-
subject here. We
went down the rabbit hole
Jay's
on that
like
one.
Jay's like looking at the script, like he's like paging through. I'm like, what? Where are we at right now? All right, okay. All right, no, you're good. Back to mounts. So Jay, we never got to you. Jay, which Krogdala set do you feel is the best?
I mean, I think for PvP, the C one is the best because it goes over caps, right? The 100 HP and 100 stamina. But
Mhm.
just like overall as a PvEer, then you would just want more AP, in my opinion. So the win set would be best for PvE. So
Yep.
Yeah, you remember the
and
comment
nobody talks
me
about the
being
Earth
a-
one. So
You remember me making a comment about being a gearlet?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I want the hidden AP right now. All right.
Yeah, okay, I feel you. But that's why I made it. See, no, I feel you. That's why I made the AP set second, though, is I used that, and honestly, I didn't do a crazy amount of work for it. Like, the biggest thing, like I said, was the Emerald, but, like, honestly, the win set was not bad because that, the horse events that they come out. Is you guys do this? Like, the
Yeah.
Imperial horse vending events, and then you can get, like, Krogdalo boxes. Yeah, I got enough of those Krogdalo boxes that I didn't have to do any of the Karanda grind. I didn't like to get the Leighton auras. I didn't have to do any of
Yeah,
the
there's a loyalty
spirit
one, too.
fragments.
Spirit fragments.
Yeah, I got that one too. Yeah.
You get it
Um,
once a month in the loyalty shop. I
yes.
also got that.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm probably
And
gonna do
then-
that for the Earth set too, just because. Even though it's
Yeah,
think
I
I-
this too just for like collection purposes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like-
also your dark spirit greed that you get from your rift bosses, you can
Oh,
also
yeah, you
get
can trade
auras with
those, yeah.
that. So I did that.
oh
to get
yeah,
the
I
last of
forgot
my
about that.
Karanda auras.
True.
Yeah.
True.
'Cause I was in that boat too, where I suddenly got bottlenecked by Karanda auras, and I was like, I'm not going to Karanda, so that's out the window.
Yeah. No, I feel like the yeah, I mean, I feel like Krogdala sets are pretty solid. Should be able to tag. So if you can tag your horse between characters, it sounds like both of you want to be able to tag your horse between characters.
Yep.
So horse gear, I guess, tags with that.
Yeah.
I hate that.
Sure.
As someone that has 2 Krogdala sets, I hate that. I've done all of
Hey,
my
I
work is useless.
suffered.
I mean,
what if it
I
tags
feel
the armor too?
That's what
What
we
do you
talked
mean?
about, Goober.
that's what. Yeah, you go. I said horse gear, and,
Oh.
and Jay's like, but what about the horse armor?
That's what we're talking about.
Oh,
That's why Blue's so up in arms. He's like, I made 2 of these.
I made
sets."
2 of these. Like I feel like it would devalue all of the hard work that players put in on that side progression.
Cap.
But again, we're going to talk about later. Don't cap me. He just you don't even have an infinite potion. Don't talk to me about side progression. You don't even have main progression yet.
Hey, whoa, easy. Jesus. I'm under fire tonight, guys.
Oh gosh. All right. So on the subject of mounts, we're gonna pivot a little bit off of tagged characters here, and I thought that Jay brought up something that I have been wanting in the game forever. So one of the biggest things is right now the only mounts in the game are typically just horse mounts. Okay, the only real mounts that you can use in the game are horse mounts. And don't talk to me. I swear, if one of you mutters the word alpaca, I'm kicking you off the podcast. The alpaca is useless, other than just looking at it. So it's like you can't really use that. The camel
What about my
and the
baby
elephant. Yeah, I was gonna say the camel and the elephant are outdated to the unicorn, which again is another horse mount. So like we really only have horse mounts. Do you guys like that, or would you rather see more mounts in the game? Tiltus, we'll start with you.
So I'm a weirdie. I love mounts and games. It's one of my favorite parts about playing Final Fantasy 14 was mount grinding for all the different mounts that could, just there. Most of those are cosmetic. Actually, I think all of them are cosmetic. The horse can do everything that the rest of the mounts can do, but I love that. I would love to have additional mounts and for various areas that would do at least cosmetically look different than the horse. Like the horse is kind of boring to me. I'm in a fantasy game.
I agree.
I want to
dude.
ride around on something cool.
Yes, dude, and I don't think you're in the minority either. I think that most people. I don't think it's weird to want other mounts. I think the rest of us. If Jay, on God, I swear to you. That if Jay, you put in a dragon into this game, I will throw my wallet so hard at the screen. I will need a new monitor.
Oh,
Like, oh my goodness. Jay Kuhn, what do you feel about having new mounts in the game other than like horses, basically?
Well, I have a strong feeling it won't come to pass, but it is a fun idea. Like when I first visited Camisylvia for the first time, I saw these Ganel elves riding like the Ferica birds from the Varnsla. And then when Odalita came along, the Vidir were riding the Shadow Lions and the Shadow Bears in Odalita. I thought it'd be like
this man knows
those would be cool mounts
legitimate names for these mounts.
It could be cool mounts to ride around. So even if it was just for novelty and merit, I think people would love for that. I mean,
oh yeah.
Go ahead.
I saw the birds from Up in comma, and I was like, we need to be able to ride these. This would be awesome. I was so happy to ride Kevin. I would even name it Kevin. Like, I absolutely would love to ride the birds from Up. But honestly, okay. On the idea of region-specific mounts, and Jay, I know you brought this up. I'm changing this, the topic right there. Like region-specific mounts that they might want to come out with. What region-specific mounts would we want to see for each region? I know we talked about the birds from Up, Fericas in Grana. Jay, actually, Tiltus, is there one that you would like really want to?
Yeah, so one of my favorite things in this game is actually how much the underwater is actually fleshed out. We talked about this before, except for that one area. The
Dude wants to ride a crab around, bro.
Hell yeah, dude! I'd crab dance. Oh, I would literally have that on a soundboard, and I would just every war I'd roll up on my crab. But no, like anything, like dude, there's some really cool underwater creatures in this game, like the stingrays and stuff like that just swim around in the ocean. Would be so sick, especially if they ever revamp underwater gathering. Give me an underwater mount. I would lose my mind for that. That would be so fun.
Yo, hold up. There's an idea right there. An underwater. I was like, yo, region specific mounts. And he's like, Margoria. That was not the first thing that I thought. It was not the first thing that I thought about. Was like Margoria.
Really?
Yeah,
dude,
no, it's not a chance.
I also dabbled in underwater gathering for a while back when it was impossible to make frigates and you had to, get 1,001 glue.
From lobsters, do lobsters IRL actually make glue? Like,
no, those are horses.
No, Jay, this is a video game.
Yeah, but
okay.
Yeah, I thought maybe some. Okay, anyways.
No, when you eat lobsters IRL, no, you can eat them, but which is very similar to glue for some people who have stock in Elmer's. But like, no, you can't make glue from lobsters as far as I'm aware. Who knows though? Honestly, there's probably it's probably on Elmer's. Like who knows? Like usually they take like actual recipes from real life and put them in the game.
Want me to drop some knowledge on you?
Hit me.
The original form of glue before it was really what we know as modern glue was made from animal sinew. So I imagine you probably could get it from lobster.
Well, yeah, I'm looking it up. I'm literally looking at. I'm a biologist, so I'm like fascinated with this.
Now, it's
I'm
not
like
the glue in the way that you and I think of glue, like Elmer's glue, but it is an
adhesive
that will work. You will have to eventually at some point reapply it, but
interesting. Yeah. No, as far as I can tell, the only way to make glue from lobsters is to play a game called Black Desert Online.
Is that the first thing that comes up?
That's just like the third thing on the list. It's like first it's like, no, you absolutely cannot make glue from lobsters, we're gonna call PETA on you. And then like the third post is in BDO you can melt lobsters for glue. Okay, so underwater mounts. Do you think, okay, so you mentioned the stingray. Jay, what kind of if you could have an underwater mount or just a water mount of any kind, what would you like to ride around?
An underwater mount. I had not. That's like a curveball. I had not thought about that.
I hadn't thought about it either.
Immediately what I thought of when we were talking about like different functional mounts.
I'm the ocean guy, and I didn't think about it, bro. I don't understand.
A squid would be sick. Dolphin would be awesome. Like you could even categorize them. I'm getting way off topic here, but there could be all sorts of different versions of underwater mounts. You could have the dolphin, which is fast. The stingray, which I don't know, allows you to go deeper or something. I don't know. The squid, which allows your character to stick in place while you gather or something. Like there's all sorts of
It's a lot of
various
mechanics.
ideas. It is, but I mean, hey, the climbing was supposed to be a thing,
Yeah.
so I don't think having a squid stick to a wall would be that far off with things they've already thought about. So
I'd ride around on a Hikaru. I'd ride
the
around.
chess player.
Yeah, it'd be something out of Free Willy, but I'd do it, bro. I'd be in. I'd be cool to ride around on some
I
of those.
can just imagine Blue riding around in it.
Just my favorite.
A pink fish, basically.
Shut up! I need this.
I mean, it's like definitely interesting, a niche for the underwater mount. Like if I were to think
there
of
would
a niche
there would
for
have
the-
to be a lot of love given to the ocean content for there to be a justification for anybody ever at any point wanting to go get an underwater mount. But
Right on.
pretty cool. I mean,
Yeah.
Sakurai exists, right? Like there is some things that exist that are technically underwater, so it wouldn't be that far fetched. But also, like any like super rare drop that would be a mount or something like
That would be so sick.
super hard to work towards, like that
Yes.
is not marketplaceable. Like any of those things would be awesome. Even a cosmetic skin drop from like the dungeons would be sick.
You
Like,
could make,
Give
yeah,
me
you
a
could make
history of
them
mob to run
treasure
around.
items. You can
Yeah,
make them like the
exactly.
Orzeka.
You give me
can make them
those,
like
and
the
I will be
Orzeka.
the number 1 treasure grinder on the server. I swear to fucking God.
Even if it's just
but-
a skin for your horse, bro. Like, just
Yeah.
let us.
Yeah, horse skins. Yeah.
Yeah, bro. Like, let us change what our mount looks like. That would be so sick. Honestly, they wouldn't even have to code anything new at that point. Like, I'd be drift instant excelling around with Kevin just on
Can
two
you
legs.
imagine the bird animation?
I'm throwing it forth as I'm going by some new Tubala Timmy. Like, get out of my way. All right. So, Jay, what other mounts would you like to see from the other regions? You mentioned a few other ones.
Well, I think I already mentioned the ones that I
Okay,
initially thought of, which was like the Farrakha, the Shadow Lions, Shadow Bears. I
Okay.
mean, we're just talking about like underwater niches, but if I had to think of a niche for those ones that I mentioned, like the Farrakha, perhaps you could scale mountains a little bit easier. Let's say the bear could be like a tanky mount. Maybe it's like you could use it to like CC people in like wars or something. Maybe the Shadow Lion could be used for like different niches too, you know? So those kinds of, just have a different option for mounts.
I
in
would
BDO,
pay
so.
I would pay good money to be able to like RP on the back of a bear in the middle, like, let's go look east, let's go pig. Like I would actually, it'd be so sick.
I just had a little bit of thought. You know how we have the ogre for siege?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Would you guys ever want to see an additional like siege type mob
Or
like
siege
that?
mobs? Yeah, like an Olin golem.
Yeah.
I feel like they haven't touched that in a while. yeah, hold up now.
This man's trying to one-shot the whole
I love-
Valencia castle
I
right
love-
now. Like, relax, dog.
No, you missed it, bro. Jay is literally the only one on the server that was just like, bro, Jay, you can turn into anything you want, anything at all during siege. And he's like, I want to be the immovable golem, so that like they literally don't move anywhere. Like you can't get that thing anywhere. You'd be like walking so slowly. The fight would get away from you, and you'd get nothing. You get like one kill feed, and then everyone would just avoid you the rest of the siege.
Yeah.
That'd
That
be
would
it.
be that kind of goes hand in hand, I think, with mounts a little bit too, is because some of these mechanics already kind of exist in the game to some extent. Like the ogre is not a thing that I don't think anybody asked for. It just like popped up one day. They were like, "Hey, we got this cool idea. Here's this siege monster." So yeah, give me mounts. I want different mounts besides my horse.
Yeah, I like okay, so the bear is one of the coolest ideas. Now we haven't, I can't believe neither of you touched on this. The flying mounts? You guys
I'm jaded
why?
because flying will never exist in BDO, so I've just given
I
up on
think
that
it
one.
will. I think it will. I think they'll give it to us. I think that they
you
will
go ride the
eventually
air
give it to-
balloons, Blue, whenever you're ready.
There's a griffin.
The airships.
It exists.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, the Griffin mount would be kind of cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know that thing would walk on all fours. You'd be crazy.
I can dream. So why do you guys think, Tiltus, why do you think that they're never going to introduce flying?
I'll be completely honest. The only reason that I can legitimately think of is the PvP implications that would happen if everybody had flying mounts. Because Pegasus are Pegasi.
Yeah.
Pegasus.
It's actually Pegasisan. But go ahead.
Those are already like really important for for some node wars. Like not every node war, but I watched I think you were analyzing a what was it? Digi and
versus
APOC
APOC.
VOD. Yeah, and the amount of Pegasus that I saw just fly over to the enemy base, I was like, oh, these are a lot more important than I originally thought. So I think they're probably hesitant for that because as well as I do, the PvP crowd would be up in arms probably real fast.
Okay, but you could just take away the flight mechanic in PvP though. Just take it out of Node Wars.
Okay, well now J-Kun's gonna cry because he grinded 3,000 hours for this flying mount. And
No,
now
he
you're telling him
didn't.
he can't
Bro, this
use
guy,
it?
no, he didn't. No, he didn't. He one-tapped his T10. Do not let him get in your head. What this man has.
But I'm just saying, like,
he's like, hold
I'm
up.
just saying, for sure.
68 times. It took me 68 attempts. Do you know how long 68 attempts is? It's 2.5 years of tap in, dude. Hello. I worked hard for my T10.
Yeah, but you know what? You have like 3 merchant rings. You just shut your mouth.
Well, I've been there for so long that it's kind of expected that I would have 3 merchant rings. You know,
really?
So.
Blonde Bear. I'm curious.
I've grinded more hours than Blonde Bear. Mm-hmm.
Yes, but Blonde Bear has none merchant rings.
Yeah, but he went to the Deborah the other day.
Honestly, no. What? What?
He went out to his Pendabraka the other day.
Never mind. Back to the dungeons. Back to the dungeons with him. Have fun at Olin for the next 65,000 hours.
Would like some RNG. If anybody wants to, our Lord and Savior Jay, not the one on this podcast, but the other one. If you could just, enhance my account just a little bit whenever you're ready, I'd be totally down for that.
You mean JJ? There's Jay and then there's JJ. Jay is like the overall CEO of Perlibus, and then there's JJ, who's like the CEO of Perlibus America.
Yeah, whoever gives me
fantastic
the hammers,
lady.
Whoever gives me the hammers, if the next hammer you give me could be a guaranteed success.
Bro, no, those hammers are doomed for failure for people like us. Unless you haven't logged in 95 days, in which case it actually improves your hammer's success dramatically.
Talk about that because that is my biggest tinfoil in the entire world.
All right, go ahead. But let it rip.
If you don't play the game and you come back after an extended period of time, you have like 75% better odds than everybody else in the game. You absolutely do.
You don't.
I came back to the game after being away for a year. When I got back, I immediately 2-tapped a pin. Then like 3 days later, tapped another one. I tapped all my pin weapons within a week as soon as I came back to the game after being gone for like a year.
So you do have energy. So what are you complaining about?
No, now I don't. It's all gone. I've been playing the game too much.
Okay. So like, Jay, why do you think that flight is really this mechanic in BDO that we really need to be that worried about? If we exclude PvP for a moment, so if we take it away from Node Wars and we take it away from Siege, is flight really that OP in BDO?
I don't think flight would break the game, to be honest. I mean, if they were to introduce it, it would just be probably limited to just easier scaling of mountains and steep landscapes.
What about the Herald journals?
The Herald journals? What's wrong with?
Yeah, what's wrong with those?
To do the Herald journals?
Yeah, what do you mean?
Easier.
Now I can just fly there. I don't have to worry about all the.
You mean running through the desert? Well, you realize that like flying is probably going to be a little bit slower on land than a unicorn drift instant excelling across the desert, bro. Like guys, we have a unicorn that does the Herald's Journal in like 20 seconds. Do you not have a unicorn?
Hey, I'm just playing the devil's advocate here.
No,
I don't have a unicorn. You knew the answer to that before you asked me.
This dude literally just got his first stream horse, bro.
Implemented like the T10 Dine where it has like a bar, right? Like the T10 Dine has like a bar of water, and then you could that would limit it. So
I hate it. I hate it. I want the T10. I want the T10 Dine so bad it hurts me some nights when I'm trying to fall asleep. And I wanted it so bad. And then they came out and I was like, oh my God, this is garbage. I don't know why they are so afraid to let you run on water. Please give me one good reason why you shouldn't be able to run on water for more than about 30. Well, I'll say 30 seconds. Right now, you can only do it for like 5 seconds.
Oh, it's that bad?
It's really bad.
Like you can't even get from one island to the next without sinking. It's bad. You can barely get across a river before you're like if you, God forbid you run into a rock or something. That's it, man. You're just going into the water. Like
you can do a little bit of a cheese with triple jump, because you don't lose the water bar while you're in the air, and so you could sort of extend it with triple jump, but it's still like not enough, in my personal opinion, to allow like at least like 1 or 2. You know,
did they give player feedback before they released that?
Playtest?
I like the stare that Blue just gave his camera on that one. For our listeners, Blue just gave a very confused and angry stare into the camera when I said that.
Playtest? I every time, bro. Every time there's no shot that they released Megu and they actually thought, yeah, let's play this. Yeah, let's test this damage. Never came out of the developers' mouths before they released the class. Okay, so honestly, I don't think that Flight, in my opinion, I don't think Flight is all that busted. I don't know why they really gate their mount content in this game. I'm not sure why. Like, I think they feel like it makes the game smaller. Running on water really does not give you any sort of advantage. You could let a person drift Instant Excel all the way to Vel, and they still wouldn't have an advantage. You know why? Because like Lolly Pirate's gonna go, look at that, it's a horse, and then just shoot you. And then you're in the middle of the ocean with no horse, bro. Like you take away the ability to charge while you're on the water, which I don't think you can actually do. Like they have already done that. So like why would it be all that bad that you could drift Instant Excel your way to underwater, for example, from Belly? Yeah. Why is that bad? And I don't see it being OP. Can you guys think of reasons that running on water would be OP in PvP at all?
Here's one of the big things for me is that like I feel like most of their arguments are about like the general player base. The general player base does not have a T10 horse.
Yeah.
Like like the people that have a T10 horse should feel giga special for having one. So
I agree. Yeah.
I don't see any reason why it's gated so heavily of like, oh, it's just this pathetic upgrade over to what the mount already is. Like it should feel crazy good to have one, unless they're looking out for power creep and they're like, our game's going to last another 10 years. We got to be careful about what we do now because it'll break the game in 10 years. Like,
worried about power.
I mean, if I had to think of a reason why they like the T10 is not that much better than a T9 is they don't want to make people feel obligated to have a T10. Like if it was too much better than a T9, then and it I don't know if you know the method of it. It's very time gated and RNG gated as well, right? You can only do an attempt every 1.5 to 2 weeks, and it's a 3% chance flat. So you could be here for a long like mine was 68 taps. That was 2.5 years of tapping just to get a little bit better of a T10 horse. Sure, like I am on like the minority side where it took me a very long time to get a T10, but I still don't mind that it's not that much better, because if it was that much better, I would feel like extremely obligated to
be sweating over the fact you didn't have it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I still don't feel like
yet?
I'm doing my best. Okay. Yesterday,
a rhino
mount. No, 2 days ago. Yeah, 2 days ago,
yeah.
I was getting power leveled for hunting on stream, and I was just casually gathering, and I just picked up 3 Voltura's clairvoyances from the rhino. I got a triple proc of the potion piece from the rhino. And I just was like, this is, of course I already have the potion, bro. I've had the potion forever. Like it will only happen to me when I already have all the items, but when I'm in the middle of the suffering, that's when it refuses to drop, bro. But when I don't need it, that's when it drops, and I feel like I just want to hand it out to people because
I was wondering because the T10 is you get the mats from Rorar, so that's why I brought it up. Yeah,
I didn't. You can get it. That's one of the ways.
The mats. Yeah, that's why.
Interesting.
Which mats? If you follow my train of thought for that one, that's why I asked that question.
Which mats do you get?
So you get these so you can exchange like his blood heart material or whatever to mythical feathers. So that's one of the way to get mythical feathers. There's other ways. The more common way is to just exchange Layla's petals for T3, T4 fairies, because it's actually not that bad to accumulate a lot of Layla's petals to get T3 and T4s, and you can exchange those for mythical feathers as well. So
that makes sense. Yeah, I don't know, but like I don't feel like I would feel obligated to get it if you could only run on water for 30 seconds at a time. You can already just map over to underwater. You're not really saving a crazy amount of time. You're just like, man, I look cool. It would still be like a man, I look cool thing. Or even if you like, you could just hover. You could go up and down almost infinitely on the T10 horse, or on the Pegasus version, right? The T10 Peggy. Like, what if you could just go all the way up and then all the way back down again? Would that really be that busted? Is that even OP at all?
Absolutely not. Yeah, no.
Like, is it?
That's
would
what I
you
was
feel
saying,
obligated to get it? Is my point. Would you, if you know, you could just go all the way up and all the way down, but you can't go forward or backward? Would you feel obligated to get that, or like I need to have this, or I can't progress? Like, I feel like they could definitely take another step on the T10s without actually like making it busted in the games. But like,
yeah,
I don't know, Jay, how do you feel? You have one, so like,
I mean, I'm not saying that is the reason. I'm just thinking that might be a reason why it might be. But yeah, I mean, I'm in agreement with you that, I mean, I'm on the bias side that I wish my T10 could do more, to be honest, because, you know, I did spend a lot of time to get a T10. So I wish that it was a little bit more special. It is pretty special because it's something that I've been working on for the last 2.5 years. And so if it could be more special, I'm not going to say no to that. So
I found out today, I actually didn't know this. There's 2 skins for the T10 Peggy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't actually know that. I saw a picture of the white one today, and I was like, I didn't even know this existed. Nice. That's pretty cool. I didn't actually give me more of that. Hello?
Yeah. It's actually very easy to get the alternate version. It's only 100 mil.
Yeah, it's permanent though, isn't it?
Yeah, you can exchange it whenever you want.
It's such an untapped. The horse skins are such a criminally untapped market for Pearl Abyss. That in their merchandise, which is, I know, completely off subject. But if they made more witch merchandise, I would hurl my wallet. Like IRL merchandise. I'm not talking about even in-game stuff. But okay, so T10s. All right. So honestly, we're going to talk about this later, but we might as well talk about it now since we're talking about the T10s. Doom. What do we feel the T10 Doom is going to look like? We'll do looks, appearances first. Jay?
Well, have you guys ever watched The Last Airbender when growing up?
Of course.
So
Yeah.
the alternative bending style for fire was lightning. So I think a lot of people would like to see a lightning horse in the game.
Yo.
So that's my personal thinking of what it would be appearance wise.
Yep. That was the mount I used in Final Fantasy, was a lightning horse. So I definitely approve of that.
You guys don't want the green horse flames?
Green horse flames.
No.
I
do
want the
not.
green horse flames. I thought that although lightning would be cooler now that he's talking about it.
My only thing with the lightning is it makes me think blue, like white and blue, which is not the colors of the T10 Dine and also the alt skin for the Peggy.
It could be a gold lightning too.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, I can make it lightning.
Then you're looking like a unicorn, banana tail.
Yeah. All right, yeah. Honestly, the
I'm just
lightning was too
saying.
close to the water. The lightning's too close to the water effect that they have going on for the Dine, I think. But who knows? Honestly, the lightning seems really, really cool. Or green flames. I think they're the only really 2 directions they could go with it. They could go blue flames, but then it looks literally almost identical to the Dine, and then the Peggy has similar coloring as well. But as far as the ability, I'm curious what you guys think like the special ability for the Doom is going to be. Because they don't want to go too busted, so you need to think of something that sounds really cool, but when you get it, is actually dog shit. So, what?
Well, I actually, well, this was like mostly based on my lightning horse idea, but I was thinking he was gonna have 2 more abilities. One would be shooting a long range lightning AOE instead of, because right now the Doom is just a conal stun in front of you, and so it would be a long range lightning bolt or something. And then the other ability was you have you can choose to appear at that lightning location, kind of like a small range teleport.
Oh hell no. That's what
should have seen my
way
eyeballs on
too easy. What are you thinking right now? There's not a chance, bro. There's not a chance. Both of those things are too busted. Both of those are too busted.
It might sound busted, but as you said, it might also just be not.
Yeah, here's when the long range lightning bolt is just like a slight tickle to aggro mobs. It doesn't actually do any CC or anything. It's just for aggroing that pack way over there. Yeah, you can get that with that.
I don't know, man. I feel like in Node Wars that would be way too busted. You could just blast down barricades from way too far away.
Exactly.
The flame towers and stuff would not be able to. Flame towers, and then like with the introduction of Balenos Siege, which we'll talk about later, like just blasting down walls would also be obnoxious in Siege with a lightning horse that can just stand like way far away and just lightning down your walls. It's like a free ballista, bro.
If we were gonna I had one more turn. If we were gonna go with more of like the fire aesthetic, like maybe you said like green flames, right? Or just any other colored flames, just another fire aesthetic Doom. I was thinking the ability could be it would also have triple jump like the unicorn, and then at the end you could do like a big stomp at the end, and not only would that prevent you from fall damage, it would do like a big explosion, and that would be the ability. That was my other idea.
Yeah. It's already got triple instant excel. So.
Yeah,
I thought you were gonna be like
thing for horses. So I
thought you're gonna be like all these green flames and stuff. And you guys know how currently we have triple jump? We could have quadra jump. And I was like, Jay, that is spot on useless.
Three-seater?
That is spot on useless, bro.
Three-seater.
Three-seaters.
Three-seater. What about four-seater?
What about just pulling a wagon behind you like a pickup truck and just throwing all your guildies in the back of the pickup and just taking off?
Okay, I'm about to tangent again. I'm not gonna prevent myself from doing it this time. Do Dooms currently leave fire on the ground?
It does.
Like, yes, it's
like
really annoying.
Actual like walk through fire puts a debuff on you.
Yeah, and it sees you when it goes by.
All right, yeah, that's just getting a buff for T10. That's it. They're making the AOE. They're making the AOE a little bit bigger, and it does a little bit more. A little bit bigger and a little bit tick damage.
So useless. Holy crap! That's actually so useless. Honestly, now we're on the right
when you
page.
Hear bigger fire, you're like, oh yeah, bigger fire, good. And then it's like, they don't even redo the animation. It's just they grabbed it with the scale tool and just scaled it up, so it's a little pixelated, like Musa Stomp.
Yeah, like as long as we're gonna make it as useless as the T10 Dine, why don't have we ever considered like super caution? You know what I mean? if you get within 20 meters of a cliff anywhere, your horse just stops running.
Yeah, you teleport backwards. You completely stop and teleport 5 feet behind you.
Yeah, you actually teleport to town when you.
Here's a safe zone.
Yeah. Or you can just hold F and you're just instant excelling the whole time. But the Doom already does that. But now you can just hold F though. But the Doom already does it. Yep, we know. We're aware. It's supposed to be useless. It's supposed to be quote cool but useless. Honestly, my favorite suggestion ended up being my own. It's the quadra jump, which is like the most useless. Like Pegasus immediately outscales it. Doesn't matter ability that they would absolutely add for it. I thought that 3-seater would be kind of cool, and then I thought about Node Wars, and I was like, please allow my guild members to lock 2-seater. So that I don't bro
when I meant that.
Please.
So annoying. I hate accidentally. I'm trying to get on my horse, and some idiot who was just like, oh my god, I got 2-seater, brought his 2-seater T8 little banger to the Node War, and now I'm sitting on the back of a horse that I don't want.
Yeah, the best is when you're trying to go make a CCG play too, and you keep hopping on somebody's 2-seater, and you're like, I want the Pegasus, it's right there, let me get on it.
Oh yeah, the teleport. Okay, let's backtrack to Jay's teleporting idea, because he thought that this was going to be okay in the game. He thought that it would be okay to take a horse and give it an iframed TP across ravines, into forts, into people.
Short distance. Maybe like you can't go through walls.
Oh, I've got it. It's instead of an S sideways, it's a sideways teleport.
Sideways teleport. Like a Dark Knight. Well,
no, not that good. Not that good. Reduce your expectation to 0.
You're right. That would be useless. I agree.
It's a PvE. It's a PvE iframe. There you go. It's a PvE iframe. It'll allow you to sideways step through Olin's mobs.
True.
I'm not on board with anything that gives horses iframes just because chat just reminded me that Tamer is a thing. There's not a chance, bro.
Okay.
I was not even gonna bring it up. Don't talk about it. I don't want to think about Highline. Go to the next.
Two-seater.
Next.
of hailing two-seater. Yo,
Stop speaking.
put the gun down. What are you doing right now? What are you doing to me right now? Oh my goodness.
Blink once if somebody from PA is currently in your home.
All right, okay.
He blinked.
How do you know that the model just naturally blinks every like 10 seconds, bro? Like
It just happened to be right after I said it. Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. He winked for us last week. What do you mean?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, yeah, that's fair. He did wink for us last week, but that's different than blinking. I feel like sometimes I'm just gonna stare at his model now and just wait for it to blink. Don't blink, Jay. Do not blink, Jay. Keep your eyes open. Oh my god, it actually does track his eyelids. Oh my god, it actually does track his eyelids. Okay, all right, okay. All right, so we've talked enough about mounts and the cool things that kind of go into that. Now I want to pivot over to some dead content. The Amity game. Woo! I bet you guys even forgot that this existed.
Nope, I am a god at Amity games.
Oh, really?
Thank you very much.
Of course you are. It's useless.
Hey! Whoa!
It's like the most useless thing.
It is literally the most useless thing, and the only reason I'm good at it is because at one point I did a very big knowledge grind, and I had to be good at it. Otherwise, I had to sit there forever.
Oh, dude, the knowledge. No. Every time I think of knowledge grind, I shot water striders in Calpheon with a practice match block for like 4 straight days. I will never go back. You can't make me. I stopped. It was like 2 days of knowledge grinding, and then like on day 2 to like day 6 was just trying to get this one water strider. I still don't have it.
Yep.
To this day, I do not have the water strider knowledge in Calpheon.
One you're talking about. You're
Absolutely
talking about the Kaya Lake strider, right?
I can't. I can't talk about it. It's too traumatic for me. The Amity game. What do you think's wrong? Okay, so you're an expert. So we'll save your opinion for last, Tiltus, because apparently you do this regularly.
Not regularly. Just when I have to.
Jay, what do you think's wrong with the Amity game?
Wrong.
Like, why do you think it failed from like release? Because no one has ever loved. For the listeners that don't know, the Amity game is what helps you get a better relationship. Like a relationship status with the NPCs.
It's reputation with your NPC essentially.
No, it's not.
I would say it's not like I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It's just mostly like rather a forgotten system that is only really used today for unlocking like NPC interactions, knowledge quests, and miscellaneous shop items. So I don't think it's like dead, but it's still there. Players can still use it for the things I mentioned earlier.
I love it.
Okay, let me drop this on you though.
There.
So you know how everybody gets the Carolyn buff before war, right?
Yeah.
Do you know how I tell players to get the Carolyn buff? Go up to her and press F5, which is the wave button, and do that about 30 times, and you'll be able to access it. So it is literally dead because the one thing it could be used for, you don't even tell players to use it.
There it is. That's what I'm looking for. Like you can bypass it, and it's honestly. The reason players don't want to do it is because it sucks, man. Have you ever sat there trying to get? Oh my gosh! Like even when the game came out, everyone was like, "Oh god, I gotta go get Amity." Like like nobody wants to do that. There were some interesting things you could do with Amity. I remember Morlin got a bunch of Amity with like I don't know. It was like a secret tech, right? You just didn't want to tell people because like nobody. There's no like catalog for this online. But if you get Amity with certain NPCs. They will sell you items that normally cannot be sold from NPCs. So I think in Marlon's case, that it was like Rosar offhands or something. Like if you got enough Amity with like the Heidel blacksmith, or the Heidel, with the armor vendor or arms dealer or whatever. You could buy Rosar offhands from them. And that was kind of a big deal way back in the day, but like it's so outdated now, and it's so bad because you can just walk up to Caroline and you just wave at her. I made the official Node War guide on the Black Desert official channel, and you have to talk about Caroline buff, right? Because that's a big part of Node Wars. And the way I told the players to do it is you just go up and wave to her like 10 times. I did not mention the Amity game. I didn't say go play it. Like nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to do that. But like, what makes the Amity game unfun for you guys?
I want to briefly describe all the systems that actually go into the Amity game because I don't know if you're aware of all of them.
Go ahead.
Okay, so number one, there's an elixir that you can use that'll help you gain amity with an NPC that you're talking to while under the effects of the elixir. There's also your horoscope that you make when you create the character for the very first time that interacts with NPCs. Okay, so keep that in mind. Character creation, you have no idea the Amity game even exists, but if you pick a horoscope, that is the NPCs that you get bonuses with. Okay, then not only that, but you have to, in order to play the game with these NPCs, you have to have corresponding knowledges of things that they want to talk about. So when you play the Amity game with certain NPCs who will remain unnamed, you have to go grind out like exploration 1, academics 1 and 2. You have to go get all the viewpoints. There's all this bullshit that goes into the Amity game just so you can talk to an NPC so that you can play this horrible game that exists.
Well, on paper, Tiltus, real quick, on paper, that actually isn't the worst idea. Is that trying to befriend somebody by talking about things that they like actually
correct from a lore perspective, yes, but from the perspective of it's dead content.
Okay, yeah.
And then the worst part about it is actually not the game itself, I would say, because most of the time, a lot of them are. Okay, so each knowledge that you have when you play the Amity game will have a different effect on things that happen in the Amity game. So, like, you can have a 0 favor knowledge, which means it gives you no benefit to using it to talk to this person. You can use it, but it'll have the effect of Amity gained 3 turns later will be tripled. So that's where you put your very high number favor one, so that say you have a 50, well, all of a sudden now it's turned into 150. So there is actually a system in the game, but the worst part about the Amity game is the requirements that it gives you to successfully have a conversation with said NPC. Because if you've ever gotten fail consecutively 5 times in a row when all of your knowledges are 95% plus, you're literally like,
gotta redo it.
I'm exiting out and restarting. Yeah. And every time you do it, it costs you energy. So if you're a newer player with a limited energy pool, playing the Amity game can actually, like, when I was doing my energy grind, like to get up to like 450 energy on a previous account, it was miserable when I first started because I only had like 250 energy to play with. And I would sit there and spend a whole day talking to NPCs and wasting all my energy to get my total energy up. It's a miserable system. It needs to be fixed or removed, in my opinion. It is the most useless system that's in the game currently, I think.
Okay. Yeah, all of that to say. Okay, I just want to circle back for a second. You mentioned horoscopes, and I just had the funniest thought. Bro, first of all, horoscopes are like the most tinfoil thing in the entire game. People have speculated what horoscopes are actually in the game for years since the game has come out. We're not I mean for other things. And
yeah.
And as far as Amity goes, it doesn't seem to have a crazy impact on your Amity, and it does allude to things when you pick your horoscope initially. So like we still have no idea what the horoscope is necessarily for. And I had Hexella today was trying to get her mana potion piece, and she was like, man, you got to have the owl horoscope right now. I was told the tech, you need the owl horoscope, and then you gather and you're gonna get it. And we're all making fun of her, right? And then I sent her the clip of me getting the 3 clairvoyances in one gather from like 2 days ago, and she like stops the clip in like the middle of the clip, and she like zooms in on my horoscope, and she's like, it's an owl. It was an actual owl. It was actually the owl. It was actually just the funniest moment. I almost fell out of my chair, bro. Chat's like, oh crap, bro. We finally got her off the owl thing, and now she's back on it again. But like, good. Yeah, we're actually not entirely certain what. Honestly, she just rated me too. Like I didn't even predict that. But like we're not entirely certain what horoscopes are for. But I'm almost I want to say I'm at least 50% sure that they don't have any effect on your drop rate buff. Right? Right?
Allegedly, they do not.
Sure.
Right. Do you guys know how real horoscopes work IRL? Like how the horoscope thing? I'm the astronomy teacher, so I know. Horoscopes have actually, like, Jay, do you know?
is it okay when you talk about horoscopes? Are you talking about like Cancer, Scorpio? Is that what you? Is that or is that astrology?
Yeah. They're the same. They're basically the same thing.
They're the same. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, they're basically the same
it's
thing.
Supposed to affect your like personality or something, right? Like,
yeah.
No.
Yeah, no, it is. It is.
It is. Okay.
It absolutely is. So the way this works is that there are 12 constellations. There's actually 13, but they took one out for the purposes of making it more bullshit. So there's actually 12 constellations that are constantly viewable in the night sky. But every once in a while, since the sun and the earth and everybody are spinning, the sun will block out one constellation at a time. And when you are born, whatever constellation is blocked out by the sun, that is your horoscope. And they made up a bunch of dumb fuckery and stupid shit that is supposed to pertain to your personality and stuff. And it's all complete bullshit. And then we get to BDO, and the horoscope system in this game is also complete bullshit. Like I swear to God, that horoscope system does not mean anything. That does not mean anything, except for maybe it helps with the Amity game mildly.
That's what the tooltip says when you select your horoscope and character creation. It says this will help gain amity with certain NPCs or something to that effect.
Yeah, but nobody wants to do that. Like, should they? Okay,
Correct.
well, Jay, what do you think about the Amity game? I know we talked a little bit about horoscopes there. What do you think about horoscopes and then the Amity game? What about the Amity game is not fun? And then do you think horoscopes just need to be just either removed or looked at again?
Definitely the requirements. Like whenever you get like a shit requirement, where it's like, oh, you have to fail this many times to succeed in the talk. I think they should just remove that if they were going to make a quality of life change. As for like things they could expand on, like we were talking about Carolyn's NPC buff. I wish there were just more pools of NPCs that we could have choices for. So Carolyn gives you a crit damage. What if there's another NPC that something that's rivals Carolyn's buff, right? Maybe it gives an additional accuracy rate, it's additional evasion rate, something like that. And maybe the more reputation or amity you had with that NPC, it would be a longer buff, right? You could have a 1 hour buff instead of a 30-minute buff or something like that. That's what I would personally do if it was
you are speaking all of my language right now, and I love it.
God, that was so hot right there. Okay,
yeah, continue with your funny words, Magic Man.
No, Jay, I completely agree. I think that they should add more temporary buffs, or at the bare minimum to just reduce this helps a million things. Please put Carolyn in more cities than just Heidel. Oh my God. They talk about, we don't know what to do to fix the lag. Well, for starters, you have like 150 players that crash right off the gun of Node Wars and Siege because everyone has to be standing right in front of Caroline right as the war starts. For our listeners that don't know, Caroline gives, it's an NPC in Heidel that gives a, what is it, a 10% critical hit? Critical hit, yeah. Critical strike damage. It's not critical strike rate. It's 10% critical strike damage. And because you crit so frequently in BDO, you're basically getting 10% more damage with this buff. It's a 30-minute buff and it's free. It's basically, it costs like what, 25 energy?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, and so everyone needs it before you go into Node Wars. So it basically requires everyone on the server that is doing a Node War or a Siege to stand right in front of Caroline until the very last minute and then take the TP for Siege or Node Wars. And this does not contribute, this contributes very greatly to the lag. You need to put Caroline in other cities, which would dramatically reduce the lag overall in Heidel. And that would help not crash the servers right as Siege began, or like Node Wars and stuff, right? So like at the very minimum, put Caroline in multiple cities. I don't know why this hasn't been explored before, but who knows? And then to expand on that, Jay's suggestion of just adding new buffs, that would honestly revamp the whole Amity system without having to change very much. Yes, please give it some quality of life buffs, bro. Some of the things you roll in the Amity game just do not feel fun or interactive at all. But like, you update the system, sure, but the real thing that we could really use as a player base is more options for buffs, like you said, like an accuracy buff, an evasion buff, and all those things. Although I will say that then you got to be standing in front of that NPC. I don't think that's necessarily the worst thing. If you gave us more options,
Yeah, you'd have players spread out across multiple NPCs trying to get the buff, and it wouldn't all be grouped in that one small ass room in Heidel.
Right. It wouldn't be like the worst thing in the world, I think. But But yeah, I think other than that, what do you think needs to be updated about the Amity system? Like what do you think is a good, like Jay already gave like an amazing suggestion. Tiltus, do you have anything like big suggestions that you think would make Amity better or more enjoyable?
I really, really think that the Amity shops are actually a very interesting idea, but there's no point in using the Amity shops anymore now, except for the one arms dealer in Heidel to get, well, not anymore actually, because KR just obliterated green offhand, so never mind.
Breaking news.
Yeah. So the Amity shops are a cool idea. I'm gonna sound like a weirdo here, but I would really like if they would give us more like RP aspects in the game. Like I really like the old Moon furniture workshops that just got added to allow us to build furniture that's in the Pearl shop in game now finally. Because I think the housing thing is one thing that's not looked at enough in this game. So that being said, the Amity shops could allow you to get cosmetic items, you know, that way. They could have, you'd have to get Amity with certain people to be able to build certain furnitures, or there's all these different things that they could do that would make the Amity system work way better, but it literally has not been touched since the game launched, and it is so incredibly outdated now that the Amity shops are just worthless now.
I agree. Yeah. And honestly, I mean, those things already exist in the game. Like the Dark Knight stuff, like you need to get Amity with a certain NPC to craft certain Dark Knight outfits and things like that. But giving it an update and actually giving meaningful outfits or whatever to it would be absolutely massive. Okay, all right, we're gonna pivot to our next subject, which is Shadow Arena. So this is an old game mode.
Holy Grail.
This is an old game mode, and this is a hot button subject for a lot of listeners out there. Shadow Arena is an old game mode that used to be in the confines of BDO. It was basically a battle royale. Back when battle royales were like massive, everyone was playing Fortnite and God, what are the other battle royale games?
PUBG,
H1Z1. Yeah, these were just massive games. These are obviously still big games, but these games were all just coming out. And so BDO made its own version within the confines of BDO that sent you into an instance, and you basically had a battle royale where you would, you know, float around as the Black Spirit and find a class that was frozen in a crystal, and then you'd have to like collect resources and kill other players and try to be the last one standing as the ring closes. And at the end, you got a bunch of rewards for it. And it was super cool content. I did a decent amount of it, but I stopped after a while because I kind of got bored with it. But I know a lot of players absolutely loved it. It was eventually removed so that BDO could. There were two reasons it was removed. One, there was a lot of exploiting going on. There was a lot of botting going on, but I feel like that isn't the main reason. The main reason is I think that Perlibus wanted to give it their first shot at making like another game standalone of BDO, but was kind of included BDO's coding. They jumped on the bandwagon. They wanted it, Shadow Arena, to be this standalone game, and they saw it was so successful in BDO itself that they felt like it could be a standalone game. And then they made it a standalone game, and it tanked immediately. I mean, it was it was a nosedive. Like day one, it had a lot of players, and then it nosedived into the ground and just died immediately. So what are your guys' thoughts on Shadow Arena? Did you enjoy the content while it was here, and do you think it needs to be brought back to the game? Jay, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I mean, my friends who've never touched BDO actually finally got into BDO because of Shadow Arena, and some of them still play today. I mean, Shadow Arena was definitely a different way to play BDO that actually gave decent rewards, and I think a lot of players like that. At least for me, it was actually the social aspect that made the game so much fun for me and my friends. I mean, the most memorable part about Shadow Arena for me was like hang out on Discord, queuing up together at the same time, so we'd be in the same instance, just having both loads of fun in Discord and screaming at each other. You know, the standalone version had all the same concepts of that BDO version had, but you know,
was dog.
I think what made the standalone version flaw so hard was that it was separate from the game and just not associated with BDO at all. So
yeah, it wasn't ready.
Yeah. As for whether it would be good to add today, you know, definitely a tough question. I think BDO today is such a different game than BDO back in 2019 when Shadow Arena was out, right? So I'm actually not too sure if it would be successful today. I mean, if I were to say from a developer standpoint, I would be more leaning towards no. and just focus on the regional content updates and PvE updates, which we know are doing pretty well in Korea with the new region. So that's what I would do from a developer side. But I'm not a developer. I'm just trying to think and putting myself in the shoes of a developer. But I would probably focus on the other aspects rather than going back to an old mode. Maybe a new revamped mode would be good to add to BDO. I'm not sure what they would do though. I don't know if a battle royale would be successful today, right? As you said, like BDO jumped into the bandwagon of battle royales back in 2019 when they were very, very prominent. I mean, they are kind of still very prominent today. Like we have Apex Legends, right? That's doing pretty well. But I think gamers nowadays would, I don't know. Yeah, I'm just my final answer is I don't know if they would be successful today.
You have Call of Duty and you have Fortnite no build mode. BRs are doing great right now.
They're doing great. Okay.
Yeah, they're still popular.
Yeah. So Tiltus, do you think they should bring it back?
Yes.
Would it be successful?
Yes. So I have a couple opinions on Shadow Arena. The biggest one that I have is that when they released Shadow Arena, when they finally like actually polished it up and they were like, okay, it's in the game for real now. Because it went through a couple of iterations where it like dropped and then they would take it away and fix some stuff and then they would drop it and then they would take it away and fix some stuff. And when it finally was like, all right, it's in the game for real. You know what they did? You know why there were so many cheaters in the stupid game? Because BDO was free to play for a month up to level 50. Okay, yeah, let me make this game where it incentivizes people trying to win, and then let me make it free to play. And the game with one of the worst anti-cheats that ever existed. And then, I don't know how to deal with the cheaters. Well, make them pay for the stupid game would be a good place to start. But
monetize it,
Jay's
so
like, it's tough to argue with that kind of logic. I guess we'll just charge them money.
Dumb. It was so stupid. It was literally the biggest flaw in that. They were, we don't know how to deal with the cheaters. Well, you just released the game for free for everybody that has an email address, bro. Like, what do you mean? But I know one of the biggest things that PvPers want to in the game is more PvP, and Shadow Arena was one of the coolest concepts that ever existed in BDO. You could play it anytime you wanted. You queued up with your friends. It was group content. You could play in a party of 3, and then you would play against other parties of 3. You weren't guaranteed to get a class you were good with, so sometimes you ended up on Warrior, and I was a horrible Warrior player. It had all the mechanics of like collecting your gear. You could get Zarkas. You could get I think it was Kudum offhands in it. Like there was all this stuff that existed in the game. And it was super cool. And it was just such a fun time, even without the rewards. Because I played a lot of Shadow Arena, and like the rewards were honestly they were really good for the amount of time and fun that I was having with the game, which is a weird concept, I know. But it was fun playing BDO and making money at the same time. That's a weird concept, but it would be so. I know players would flock to it immediately if they re-released it in BDO.
If you stopped playing the Amity game, you could make money and have fun doing other things.
I'm currently killing gray wolves. Don't speak to me.
I think there's the problem.
But no, I like life skilling. But yes, Shadow Arena was so good. It was such a unique game mode. And have you guys played Naraka Blade Point? Do you guys know what that is?
I've seen it, yeah.
It is literally Shadow Arena, but with better combat and samurais. And I mean, Kunoichi and ninjas are still in there. So, I mean, it's not that different, and Striker is in there too. But I have people in the guild that absolutely love that game, and they play it all the time, and they're like really good at it. But like the market is still there. It didn't go anywhere. People still want to play that style of game, and with it being plugged directly into BDO, playing in Calpheon, I mean, you already have a system set up for these instances because of AOS. Like, just literally put it back in the game. Like, please. It was so fun.
So my biggest concern with why Shadow Arena should not be added is I think that it puts too many people in an instance. I think if you take too many people from the server, I think it would be very popular. I agree. Depending on how they did the rewards, and if they put the rewards anywhere near where they were at last time.
Yeah, they shouldn't
Like-
make the rewards as good as they were last time. It was better than grinding in
Yeah,
most
it was better.
cases.
Yeah, it was way better
Yeah.
than grinding in most cases. But like even still, I think if you put too many people in an instance, a lot of the other content in the game kind of dries up a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, poor Jay
I
would
think
never be able to find another dungeon group a day of his life.
There would definitely have to be some tweaks to it. Number one is the rewards should not be as good as they were at the release of Shadow Arena. And number two, I think like you're taking players out of the overworld, yes, but you got to remember in Shadow Arena you were playing with 100 other people, so like
Yeah, it's 100 players off just immediately off the server
well,
in an instance
I've
the
been killing
time.
gray wolves for almost 2 hours. I've seen 2 players.
Yeah, but that's not group content that we're worried about. We're more worried about other stuff. Bro, I get concerned when Arena of Solaire comes out. I'm like, well, there goes open world PvP for the next like 2 months. Like, that's like if you take this many, if you take all the PvPers away from the server, then you're effectively killing other content within the game. So I'm a little concerned that like the rewards would be a little strong, and too many people would do it, and then you just don't have enough players doing other things, and the game and the market kind of collapse. There's a lot of implications that kind of go into that.
Maybe, but
like,
I feel like that's you got to find a way to work around that with the content that good, because Shadow Arena was amazing. Like I can't stress enough how much fun it was to play. I love Shadow Arena.
It was a lot of fun. Yeah, I mean, some people are saying, 100 people out of 12,000. There's not just one instance of Shadow Arena going at a time, though. There's many instances of Shadow Arena going at any given point in time. So you're talking hundreds of players at a time, and they're all
If
the most
not
active
thousands,
players.
like,
Yeah, if not thousands. Yeah. And
Shadow Arena was super popular when it came out. Like, I don't misunderstand how popular it was. It was so popular that they literally couldn't figure out how to deal with cheaters, because there were cheaters making brand new accounts to play the game to do
I think
Shadow
that was the
Arena.
rewards, though. I think that's because they overtuned the rewards just a little.
Yeah, well, that and
just
they also released the game for
touch.
free.
Yeah, that was
Silliness.
stupid. Well, I mean, releasing the game for free actually is fine. I don't think that that's necessarily the problem. There's so many ways, and I think that their anti-cheat and their ability to detect botting is way better than it has ever been.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is way better now.
Yeah, I mean, I talked to them about it in person while I was down there, and they have some crazy tech for it. And honestly, we don't see very much botting anymore. So like, it's definitely working. I think it definitely could get added to the game, as long as I think maybe they put the rewards where they should be, and not make it too good. I think that the content could be amazing. Like you said, like it's group content, it's PvP content. Seems like a slam dunk. And honestly, maybe you give us Shadow Arena when we're in the off season for Arena of Solaire.
That's what I was just about to say.
Yeah,
Alternate the two, and then instead, like, what significance awards or rewards does AOS give? There's nothing crazy, right?
No,
or am I?
No.
Yeah.
AOS gives eco points.
Yeah. So give us a Shadow Arena leaderboard, something similar to AOS. People love play AOS, and then just rotate it in the off season. Keep kind of the same time block that you have, except make it, like or maybe you do it like the same time blocks that ranked was, except every day of the week or something. Or I don't know. There's a workaround that they could find to keep from killing their overworld player base. But it was such a good game. I cannot stress enough how much fun it was, and how many people like legitimately enjoyed playing it too. Like that's the crazy thing. Like it was fun. Like people legitimately enjoyed playing it, and they took it away from us and made some flop. So give it back. I want it back.
The funny thing is, it was a lot of fun. And then they just immediately ripped it away from us. I
did. They straight took it from us.
You're having way too much fun. You're not allowed to have as much fun with the game.
I feel like I'm Gollum or something over here talking about the One Ring. I'm like, give it back. It's mine.
Okay. So I think Shadow Arena, like, it's in the game. The funny thing is, like I feel like it's in the game. They definitely did not delete the coding. It's there. They could definitely just reintroduce it.
It's buried in there somewhere.
The best part of Shadow Arena is for those of us that remember it, at the last Calpheon ball, like the intro that they did on the screen, like for like like teasing one of their content was literally the Shadow Arena. It was like half of the Shadow Arena trailer, and all of us in the audience, I remember Choice going, oh my god, we're gonna get it, we're gonna get it back, it's coming back. And then it was like a total debate, and we didn't get it. And I saw him go into the partner chat so fast, and he was like, no, like, you can't tease us with that again. I just thought it was so funny. They didn't even take the time to make like their own new trailer. They took the Shadow Arena trailer, like the first half of it, and then used it for their new content. I forget what it was.
Oh, good.
Honestly, I forget what content they were teasing us, but I just thought it just tickled me. All right, moving on to, I definitely want to have enough time to talk about this.
Yeah, lay it on us.
Yeah, so we're gonna talk about this new introduction because this kind of happened quickly. Balenos Siege. Did you guys Yes. Did you guys do Balenos Siege when it was out the last time?
My first ever siege W, both on Balenos, dude. Balenos has a special place in my heart. I love that war zone.
Yeah, I mean, it's the war zone is one thing, but the Balenos Siege is like, there were problems with it, and then there were a lot of good things with it. I think the terrain is like one of the biggest things.
Yeah, Farmland Siege is so fun. It's so different than castle sieging.
Yeah. Jay, as someone that had literally never did PvP until you were forced to, did you ever actually do Balenos?
So I only started doing node wars and sieges in 2022, and so I don't know. I don't remember if Balenos was there, and if it was, then I didn't really participate in Balenos Siege. All I remember is that there wasn't a castle you fought in. You didn't even use like Kron Castle. Everyone just had a fort.
Yep.
It was just like a big node war, basically.
It was.
There's a node war with walls and stuff. Now, what went wrong with
machines?
Yeah, what went wrong with the Balenos Siege before? I did extensively. Did Balenos Siege? I did a lot of Balenos and Serendia sieges back in my day, so I have strong opinions on this. But what do you guys, or Tiltus, what do you feel what went wrong with Balenos Serendia Siege back in the day?
So back in the day, one of the problems was it didn't actually have a drop buff associated with Balenos. So if you won the siege, you got your name up there, you were banned from doing any node wars for a week, and you had no drop buff. You just got the payout basically for owning a territory. So there was not a super huge amount of incentive to go there. But it was a really good stepping stone for guilds trying to break into the siege scene. When I was with Corrupt, that was where we went first. Us and Bassi Core, and I think Nodo, because I don't think they were APOC yet. Like there was like the three of us on the territory, and we would fight every week between the three of us, and it was a great stepping stone because you wouldn't run into people like Cho and Man Up and Vertex and stuff like that on it. It was like Hickey, Corrupt, Bassi, Nodo, and there's probably a couple others that I'm forgetting too, but those are the ones that a Spartan I think was doing it at the time. Maybe Clash was also doing it at the time. I felt like it was a really good stepping stone. Sorry.
No, you're good. I feel like no one remembers. So Balenos Siege, I don't feel like it didn't fail because the rewards were too low. Like the 50% drop rate buff was not something that people cared about as much back then. And today when they reintroduced it, even if they don't give us a 50% drop rate buff for like underwater, I don't think that's that big of a deal.
It's not gonna matter.
The biggest problem, the reason that this failed was because the merc system at the time allowed you to merc in as many mercs as you wanted. So you had all of Brutal and Digital were the two guilds that completely killed Balenos and Serendia Siege. So you had two extremely geared, extremely like powerful guilds, and what they would do is they would their entire guild, like 90 plus mercs, would all merc into like one crappy guild that like didn't have any points, just like one person in the guild. They would all merc into this crap guild, 90 to 95 mercs, and they would just run over Balenos. All of the new players, or all of like the rising guilds that really needed to be on Balenos Serendia Siege. So the biggest problem with this was that you had big guilds essentially dropping in Balenos and Serendia without any consequences, just destroying the PvP scene, and just effectively destroying all of those guilds' ability to siege at the time. There was no capped siege. In order to come up as a rising guild, and you definitely couldn't siege a castle if you were a new developing guild. Like Crawling Chaos developed during this time. They're like the one guild that made it through the gauntlet that was digital and brutal at the time. Like, because like I remember they came out and they were able to actually take a W against one of those guilds, but until that point, a guild would get really strong in T1s, and then they would try to graduate, and the first thing they try to do is jump into Balenos Serendia Siege, and they would just get immediately turboed because there was no gear cap. They would just get immediately turboed by one of these two guilds or both. And it was just disgusting. And then now they've made changes to the merc system, so now, like, do you feel like merc should be allowed, knowing that it basically completely destroyed the system in the past? Do you think any mercs should be allowed for Balenos Siege this time around? Jay, I'll start with you.
Well, I personally don't mind mercs. I mean, as for
Jay, do you ever actually?
Hi.
Do you ever actually merc?
No.
I don't merc either. But like, do you feel like for the purposes of like these T1 guilds and these up and coming guilds, do you feel like it's fair to allow mercs? Because there's positives to merking. There's because people can try your guild out. And being able to try your guild out for siege is really important. But like, also, you don't want someone like Choice merking in to just completely obliterate every up and coming T1 player on the scene. So like, there's a balance there. Do you think it's worth risking really strong players coming down? Let's say you allow 5 mercs like you do for every other region. Do you think it's like worth risking this? Because you're still going to get 10 guilds dropping on Balenos. That's 50 players.
Maybe that's the theme of Balenos. Maybe that's going to be that merc territory where everyone can just merc over there.
No,
that's going to be the theme for it. I don't know.
Oh God.
Do not do that. Do not
please,
do that. Ignore
please,
that.
No, God, please, no.
No.
All right, Tiltis, what do you feel like? Mercs, should mercs be allowed at all, or like is
yes.
I mean, you're gonna as
Yes.
excited as you are. First of all, is Epidemic coming to Balenos Siege?
Yes.
Oh
yeah. No, I'm working on the boys right now. Okay, I'm trying to get everybody hyped up. I put out a leadership ping to it. We're looking at it very seriously. I really want to do it at least like once a month or something, because it is, in my opinion, Siege is super fun. Not when it gets super stressful, you're sweating over it, but like to do it for fun, to have fun with Siege, to have fun with the mechanics, good. However, mercs, yes, for Balenos, I heavily believe that Balenos should always remain capped and it should never be uncapped. And the reason behind this, you can rotate whatever caps on it, but it always needs to be capped to keep the mercs in check, because you do not want to ruin Balenos Siege, which is a great stepping stone because it does not have a castle, so you don't have to learn the castle mechanics right off the bat. You can learn the walls, the gates, the elephant, multiple elephants, cannon teams, like all this like really large scale stuff that you might not have experienced from T1s or T2s, like, because it's a different beast leading 70 people around and also having like a 20-man flex, and then you've got 5 cannoneers and you've got 2 elephant riders. Like, it's a big stepping stone to make.
Believe me, I'm aware.
Yeah.
Like,
Blue's
like,
well aware. He's done it a couple times now.
A couple times.
Yeah. But I think mercs should be allowed. I think Balenos always needs to remain capped to keep the mercs in check, to allow people to try out your guild, to allow guest shot callers to help maybe teach people, because there are other things that mercs can do besides just frag, right? Like there's plenty of other things that are on the table, and I've seen it happen before. So I would mercs are fine. Keep it in check. Keep it capped. Please do not ever uncap Balenos. You can rotate the caps, whatever you want to do, but it needs to be a good stepping stone for players to get into Siege.
Okay.
Otherwise, there's no point really in bringing it back.
Oh,
we just lost Jay.
We just lost Jay.
My phone ran out of battery. I forgot to plug it in.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so you mentioned capped. All right, so my question is, so the whole point of them reintroducing this Balenos Siege is because they want to reduce lag on the servers, which I'll be honest with you, it's not the worst idea in the world. Spread players out among more servers. And I think that idea will work. As far as the caps go, there's like a lot of different ways, and I tried fishing. I was like, come on Delphi, come on Etsu, tell me what the caps are gonna be, come on. And they just wouldn't wouldn't tell me, and I think it's because they also don't know.
Probably.
I think I'm wondering what was gonna go on with the caps here. What would we like to see with the caps? Do you want to see Balenos as like underneath what's currently Valencia is the lowest cap siege at the moment. They rotate the regions all the time.
Right.
But do you think it should be like a tier 1 caps, tier 2 caps, somewhere in between those? Because like right now Valencia siege is roughly around where tier 2 caps would be. Do you think they should just move the capped region? Like Valencia should become Medaya, and then Calpheon becomes Valencia, and then we have 2 uncapped regions? Or do you think it needs its own set of caps, and there needs to be 3 capped regions with 1 uncapped region still? Go ahead.
I figured we wait for Jay to get back. Sorry if you wanted to go to him first. Do you want to go to Jay?
I'm just gonna keep my phone off because it's like 2% battery right now.
Yeah, you're good. You're
do
good.
Do you want to send it to Jay first?
Yeah, Jay, go ahead.
Hi. Well, I mean, this answer is completely biased as a 750 gear score player, but I like the idea of more uncapped regions so I can utilize my gear.
That is fair. He's not wrong. What about Tiltus? Here comes the I guarantee you Tiltus is gonna be like, get this shit over.
So the way I would imagine it is that you have 2 capped regions. Balenos is always capped at all times to allow it to continue to be a stepping stone. Now, whether or not that's the Valencia cap or whatever the other cap currently is, it can rotate if you want to do that. And then you uncap 2 of the other territories at any time. So you basically have Balenos is always capped, but it'll alternate between the lower cap and the medium cap. And then you have 2 uncapped territories, and then you just kind of rotate those around, but you always leave Balenos as either the low cap or the medium cap.
I think it should always be the low cap, but
I agree, but you know what? Fuck it. Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because
I was gonna say that, but yeah,
it's gonna have less rewards, right? There's like no shot that they can have more rewards in Balenos. I don't think they can do the 50% drop rate buff. I think it'll basically just be the silver. Yep. As far as rewards go.
Yeah,
and I'm okay with that too because it's gonna be a lot of fun. Okay,
and that in turn gives players 2 more uncapped regions now in the castle sieges, and then the medium cap can just alternate between one of the 3, and there you go. Now you've got more uncapped content for everybody that screams about uncapped content. You've got a good stepping stone for siege, and then you always have one that's kind of the medium stepping stone, but rotates around and allows players to branch out and try different castles.
Yeah, I think that the castle sieges, it's not even an argument here. Like realistically, it's not even an argument to say castle sieges should be capped. I think castle siege was designed as uncapped content. I'm going to be honest with you, trying to dive the wheel as a capped player is fucking impossible. As someone that does it almost every week, and I've been shot calling siege for a long time, you need DP memes in castle siege. And there's a number of other things that you should be able to exploit with your gear. This is the highest level of BDO PvP. It needs to be uncapped. At least most of it needs to be uncapped. So I think that you give at least 2 castles to uncapped content, and you move Balenos to, just basically Valencia caps. I think you just move the caps kind of over. You have 2 capped regions and 2 uncapped regions.
The ideal situation, I think, right now, because I hear a lot of PvPers screaming that they like Serendia a lot better than Balenos, is give Balenos the low caps, bring back Serendia, give it the medium caps, uncap the other 3. Let's see what happens.
That's what I thought they were going to do when they introduced capped siege to begin with. Is I thought Balenos Serendia were going to be capped, and then they were like, we took it away, and we were like, okay.
I agree.
They just brought back both regions, made both of those the uncapped regions, and I mean the capped regions, and then made all 3 of the castle sieges uncapped content. I feel like people would be very, very happy with that. Like, I don't really see the problem necessarily with doing that. Now, I will say that maybe there would be less guilds, and so this flows into one of my last points that I want to make about Balenos Siege. Should it be a 100-man cap, or should you cap it lower? Because I know guilds like Epidemic are going to come, and I don't think you guys can pull 100 people. Correct me if I'm wrong. But, like, do you think it should be a lower cap?
Nope. Half my alliance is a life skill guild, so absolutely not. I'm not pulling 100 people. I've heard that it should be 75, which I can agree with. I think 75 cap for Balenos Siege is the perfect sweet spot for that. I think between an alliance, you're pulling half your alliance to that. I feel like that's a reasonable request.
50%? 50%? Like ratio wise, is it enough to pull 50% of your guild, or should you be pushed to pull like 80? Just a little bit over 50%, because I feel like I don't know, it would also encourage alliances a little bit less if it was a 75-man cap, and I think that's probably the number that they would go with if they were going to go down with it. I don't know, man. 75, like, I've given this a lot of thought, and it would strictly hurt my guild, Reforged, if they made it a 75-man cap. That would
because you have a ton of active PvPers.
Yeah,
right?
we capped 100. So like it would definitely hurt us, but I also think that it would probably be better for the scene if you allowed people to come in to Balenos Siege with 75 people, because then you're not expecting a guild to go from T1 Node Wars to like 25, 30-man T1 Node War caps to 100 people immediately.
Yeah.
Right?
I can't
because
shot call right now for 100 people.
Right.
I'd lose my mind. I haven't done that in years.
Yes, siege calling is a different animal. Trying to be a siege caller is very, very different than being a node war caller. They're 2 completely different animals, because the mechanics are very different, and macro and your special teams and all of there's so many moving parts that it's not just I attack move my ball into your ball and then one dies and like that's it.
I popped the PA. I hit the guild skill button, I'm good to go.
Exactly, like that's it, bro. And sometimes we forget the guild skill button. So like 75-man caps. Jay, would you rather see 75-man cap? I know you don't have too much of an opinion on this, and I'm sorry, but like 75 or 100 is better for the scene. Do you think? I
mean, I am more leaning towards less people because, last week in Valencia, I couldn't really play the game, and so
really, it was bad for you.
It was really bad. In Valencia, at least it was in Valencia. It was like terrible. I couldn't, like, I would just keep crashing also, and then when
because
I
you were an
APOC.
Yeah. The castle part of the siege is always going to be terrible, but after the castle went down, it was actually not that bad. After the castle went down, it was actually not as bad as it could have been, I think. So like, yeah. So, but Jay, like, do you think it would be better for the scene if it was 75 versus 100?
I mean, you listed out a lot of points which promote less people, right? Like it would be like a stepping stone, and I think that's always a good thing to introduce players. And having that, I mean, we got a lot of stepping stones in BDO, right? We got the pity pieces, we got the Godderide as a stepping stone to Pen Blackstar, and so I think stepping stones are a good thing for BDO. So
yeah, I think what they should do is bring back both farmland sieges, and then make Serendia be like 90-man, and then Balenos 75, and then uncap the other 3, and you're golden. You spread out the players a lot there too, so that you're not getting this ridiculous amount of lag too.
I think you were close. I think Balenos should be 75-man. You introduce Serendio that is the 100-man. So now you've
so
started mastering. Okay. Yeah. So like you have guilds that like, okay, we only have to bring 75. There's less like emphasis on the shot caller and like trying to make the correct move all the time and these special teams. So it's easier for guilds to jump in on the 75. Then you graduate to the 100-man, and now you have to get used to running a 100-man ball, but you still don't have to worry about like sieging the castle necessarily, or the uncapped PvP yet. So I think Serendia should still be the capped region at 100-man. I think Balenos should probably be capped at 75 people to help guilds kind of ease their way into siege, because we're doing this build-up thing. T1, T2, T3, you have capped siege now, like, and things like that would really help guilds. And then I think that all 3 castles in my opinion, should be uncapped content because they were designed as uncapped content. Trying to dive the wheel as a non-DP meme is a miserable experience. It almost makes whoever's in the castle is just objectively stronger in capped content because, again, like you just vaporize people standing up on the walls and stuff. So like, I'm not sure why they chose to only introduce Balenos Siege. I'm hoping that the lag is honestly bad enough that they have to introduce Serendia Siege too.
I don't know why they got rid of them both in the first place.
Yeah, the problem with adding, that would have been a lot of content to drop at the same time. People would not have been, like, there weren't enough guilds at the time. I don't think, well, maybe there were, who knows. My question is now that if we add 2 new siege regions, I think they're adding one kind of as a test to see if it helps, and then maybe they introduce Serendia as well if it helps. But like, I don't know if we have enough guilds to actually fill 5 regions. I think you might kill the fights if you do all 5.
So
as
T1, if you have a T1 node, you can participate in Siege now, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So T1s do Balenos because it's the stepping stone one. So then you're getting an influx of all these T1 guilds that are all down here. We're all down here. I've been telling y'all to get me out of here for like 2 months now. Like there's a ton of players down here. So if you just give them a outlet to go do on Saturday night, well, you're golden. Then you don't have to worry about spreading the player base out too much because you're bolstering it with this influx of players from the lower tier guilds. I know a huge reason the T1 guilds don't participate in Siege even when they get castles, or they drop a stick for the money or whatever, is because like they can't keep up with those guilds. There's no shot. Like, well, even the guilds.
The biggest problem why T1 guilds don't participate in Siege, and I think this is the biggest problem overall, is they can't pull the people. T1 caps are down at 25 to 30, and there's no incentive for a T1 guild to try to pull more than 30 people until you're ready for T2s. And so Siege is just a bit of a reach. You're basically a cannon guild. And even if you were pulling the 100, you're exactly right. It's like you're pulling 100 and you're like, sweet, we dropped. And Show Nations is like, thank you. And they just run you over.
Stormtrooper incoming. Hello.
Exactly. God bless. Roots is like, pull off the fort, farm a martyr. Like but like, I just think that, this is kind of dicey. We're going to see how this goes. And also this first week, I think they did this really poorly. This first week, like they should have just canceled Siege for this week and then like input it, like, cause they're going to pull the big castle guilds out of castle just before Siege. It's going to make it really hard for the smallest guilds are the ones that want to do Balenos Siege. The smallest guilds are also the ones that are going to have the hardest time taking nodes, right? Like, I know we're going to have a tough time taking nodes this week because, like, the nodes that we would typically like to take are either higher manned nodes, right? Which Cho Nation and Digital are going to be like, well, we need our Siege quali. Like, I don't know, man. I think it's going to be kind of tough to get a Siege qualifier this week, and we're going to see how the lag looks this weekend. I think Balenos probably ends up being capped out. I think that if you don't, I think that if you don't get your fort down right away, I don't think you're going to Balenos Siege, but that does leave the other castles unattended, so we will see how it ends up playing out this weekend. Now we are out of time. I did want to talk about Lakairos a little bit, but we can talk about that next time. Unfortunately, we just didn't quite get to that content tonight. There was a lot of stuff
to jump down tonight, so
I had it all planned out like perfectly, and then they introduced and then they tanked green offhands on the Korean server, and it was like a news bulletin coming across our screens, and we had to talk about it. Like, this just in, Kuda maneuver now have 10% special attack damage. Get fucked. Like, all of you people that have your green offhands, you're doomed.
Right after we've been praising them for like 2 weeks in a row of adding alternate routes for years, they're like, never mind.
Yeah. So yeah, very excited about the patch tonight. It's gonna look really cool. Do you guys have any closing comments for the podcast? Everything we talked about tonight. Mr. Invisible J-Kun.
Hi. Closing comments. I kind of wish we kind of went talked about like the side progression gear.
I know,
because I have a lot of stuff to talk about that, but we can save it for next time, right?
I'll copy paste for next week.
He's like, bet makes my job way easier for next week.
Hell yeah, topics already done for next week. Let's go.
Okay, right on. Tiltus, final comments?
Yeah, just please do not fuck Balenos Siege. Please, Pearl Abyss. It's like the one thing I'm
Yeah.
really looking forward to in the game right
Yeah.
now, because the next expansion's like 4 months away still. So please let it be good. Please. I'm so excited about this. I want to do it so bad, but if it's absolute dog water, I'm not going to be able to do it. So
Yeah, we are all electrically excited for Balenos Siege, and that's my closing comment as well. Please God, don't mess this up, bro. This is a slam dunk. This is so
it's
free.
free real estate, man.
This is so free. Do not screw this up. We're gonna come in tomorrow and they're gonna be like, so we had this great idea where we would just make all 4 regions capped, and we're like, oh God. But yeah, no, I just really don't want them to mess up Balenos Siege. Let's go with outro. We'll go Tiltus first. We'll go in reverse.
Yes, sir. I'm Tiltus TV. You guys can find me at twitch.tv, Tiltus TV. I stream Tuesday through Sunday. Monday's my only off day. I do PvP. I'm trying to learn every class in the game to some extent. I am doing the main storyline. Currently, like reading it all out. So if y'all want to know what's going on, you can catch me over there. And then Sunday is Dark Souls Day, actually, because I'm a huge Souls fanatic. So come hang out with me. It's fun, I promise. And if I get enough followers, I'll eventually put on a full suit of armor and do some shot calling with a full suit of armor on. So
okay. We're gaming. You heard the man. Okay, Jakun.
Yes, my name is Jakun VT. I'm invisible, but I do a lot of party content.
The V is
such
for
as
invisible.
Yeah. I do a lot of party content such as Olins, the dungeons. So if you have any questions about those, I also love doing gear progression guidance. So if you guys have any questions about that, I'm
gonna slide
here,
in them
so.
DMs here in a minute.
Yeah.
So.
Amazing talk this week. Let's get some good topics for next week as well. So
Right on.
maybe we'll have another guest for next week. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? No spoilerino cappuccino.
No spoilerino.
Yeah. And I am, of course, Blue Squadron. I stream Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, as usual. Saturday, we have the Big Boy Siege content where we're screaming at our microphone. Everybody loves watching me scream at people in Siege.
Having fun, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I am having fun. This is fun. This is what fun looks like. Screaming and destroying people's self-esteem. Sunday is super chill content / event day. Monday is always fun day Monday, and then of course we have the Old Moon podcast on Tuesday. Make sure you guys there's many avenues in which you guys can watch the Old Moon podcast or listen to the Old Moon podcast. I always throw it up on YouTube. It's up within hours of the podcast ending. We also put it up. We're on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You can just search for us on those platforms as well. It's the Old Moon podcast. You can find us on there. So yeah, I think with that, boys and girls, this is going to be a wrap for the Old Moon Podcast, episode 8. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Let's go. See you guys next week.
Later.
That's right,
Bye-bye.
baby.